Hello, this is Sandy Fritz, and I am the author, along with my son, of Mosby's Essential Science for Therapeutic Massage. And I wanted to take you on a quick tour of the unique aspects of the anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, and pathology textbook. Truly the essential science of therapeutic massage and the instructor resources. Hopefully, this will help you make a more informed decision about what textbooks you might want to use in your education. So I am up on the Evolve site with a Zoom, and we are looking at the electronic version of the textbook. And there are a lot of advantages to using the electronic version. I actually get my students the paper version and the electronic version. The one I like the most that I think really helps with learning retention is the read aloud feature. And it allows the student to listen to the book. Those that might have some reading issues, it allows them to hear it read to them and follow along. Where English isn't the second language, it's really helpful. So that is a real nice feature. Also, there is a search program that will hunt through the book for you for any term that you are looking for, which is really helpful. Let me type in a term for you. Let's do joint. And then you search, click the little search button. And it'll search through the book and it'll bring up references across the board. And then all you have to do is click on the one that you want. We'll click right here, and it'll take you right to that place in the textbook. And there you go. So that is also very, very helpful to have. Let's get back to the table of contents and to the cover. So what I want to do is show you just some general highlights that are different from a typical anatomy physiology textbook you would find. The book is divided into 4 units. We've got fundamentals, systems of control, kinesiology, which I have the expanded table of contents for, and the remaining systems of the body. And so let me use the joint chapter to show you all of the unique features in the textbook. So I'm just going to click it and open it up. And I'm going to leave the table of contents open here. I can close it if I want to. So what you'll see when you open it up is the exact replica of the paper book. We have the chapter outline, and each chapter is a large content piece. And then that chapter is divided into subsections that are about 15 to 20 minutes of reading and how it might also fall into how you would develop a syllabus design. So each of these subsections could be a class. And there is a feature on the instructor resources called Teach that would lay that out in a lesson plan for you. So what you will find is you start out with an overview, and then you look at function. And each of these areas has a section summary or a review what you have learned. And then here, what's nice with as you study the joint, let's look at the elbow. It gives you an overview, tells you the articulating bones, the joint type, the ligament, provides pictures for you. So the radial ulnar joint is part of that. And then for each of these joints, there is an palpation sequence. There's a palpation sequence that you can either use in the classroom, or it can be a group activity, or the student can use to help them identify the bony landmarks and the structure of the joint. And then it'll tell them to move it through all of the range of motion positions. And then it goes on to the next joint and the hand joint and so forth. At the end of the chapter, for all of these, you're going to find the pathology. This is for all of the chapters so that you get a sense of why you may not need a designated pathology book. There's enough here to create the required understanding for the NPLEX exam, and for them to start to ask intelligent questions and start looking things up. So for each of these that are discussed, this happens to be joint immobilization, it gives you a general description, goes into something that might go along with that: joint swelling, effusion, and edema. And then it gives you some guidelines for self-help within that. Not all of them have that, but some do. And then you have your indications and contraindications right here. This is enough information. Sometimes we overload our students with information. And if they want to know more, then they can look stuff up in another textbook or an anatomy and physiology course, or on a website or something. There's lots of ways they can get more information if they need it. With the muscles, I'm going to open that up right now. You don't need a classic atlas-based type text to work with the muscles. Everything you would need here is available. So again, we have issues about understanding terminology, which makes things difficult. But it discusses why we have multiple names for attachment terminology. There's your section summary. And then the overall physiology, structure, and function. And then a solid section on fascia for the myofascial unit. And then individual muscles. And each of these individual muscle sections is laid out by region and in a concentrated study unit. So let's look at the muscles of the hand. Okay. So we're coming out of the muscles that are more part of the wrist here. Get up to the head of that. You can see the schematics here for every muscle in the area. And so for each area, there is an atlas picture, an overall picture of an area, as well as a overarching explanation of the region that we're talking about. Then each of those muscles are illustrated in a more stylized view where they can visualize the attachments and and the muscle in isolation. It has a pronunciation key. It gives you the meaning of what the words are. Then you get multiple actions for the muscles. Muscles don't just shorten, they have multiple actions. So we have the concentric, the eccentric, and the isometric action. This also starts to help you understand functional muscle groups. Then we have this list of attachment terminology. Origin, fixed end, proximal attachment arises by, that covers it. There's the insertion, mobile end, distal attachment attaches to. You got your innervation, and then unique as well are the synergists and the antagonists, again, to support the idea of functional units and muscles. And this carries on down into the whole complex of the muscles in this area. Sometimes there's a little bit of an extra note. And then once we get to the end of the segment, what you will find is where are the common tender point, trigger point, referred pain areas. So elements common to the anterior flexor group, these areas that when you press on them will recreate symptoms sometimes. They're typically in the belly. And the referred pain pattern that the client will actually talk about is listed right here. So very comprehensive all the way through, and then also has the pathology. Also unique to this book is body mechanics, or basic biomechanics, which takes this whole unit and looks at it through a lens of assessment. So you've got basic biomechanics. You learn to look at gait and walking and posture and how all of that works. Then you look at relationships, the kinetic chains, synergistic relationships. And then you go into individual joint assessment, biomechanics by region. And this is one of the ones I want to show you again, unique to this book. So we'll start out with this head and neck region right here. This narrative brings previous chapters into context as a review, specifically looking at uniquenesses to that region, movement to that region. And then you get to an activity, and it's set up for you to understand the concentric and eccentric function. So where there is trunk extension, the next part of the activity will be trunk flexion, or cervical rotation. It'll go to the left and to the right. Or if you have hip flexion, you would have hip extension. So the muscles that are involved, and if there needs to be a review of that, they can search for that, and it'll take them right in the electronic version. It'll take them right back to the content in chapter 9. What is the range of motion? An example, not the only one, but an example of how you would position the client to put these muscles into a concentric action, and then you can do a simple muscle test to see how they are, do they have the strength to hold that position. Right on the heels of this then is trunk flexion. Same pieces, and then they can look back forth between the pictures and look at agonist-antagonist action. And then this also goes into rotation and elevation. So here we see it with the capital extension, flexion. Here's cervical extension and flexion and so forth. It really does put everything into practical application. And these visuals, these pictures also show the student how they can do regional joint movement for assessment for the balance between agonists and antagonists, or is there a shortening, or is there hypermobility? Section 4 are the remaining body systems, and the information in these two chapters really targets what the student needs to know to adapt massage to influence as much as can be plausible these body systems. So in the cardiovascular and lymphatic, there is also discussion on how massage affects fluid. In the respiratory, how massage can influence breathing and the importance of breathing regulation. Also reproductive system in relationship to pre and postnatal massage. So those those are the main unique features. So we're going to look at the instructor. So this is the web-based online resources, both for instructors and students, so that I want to concentrate on what's available for instructors. So at the end of every chapter in the science book are 20 questions that are set up for discussion and review, multiple choice, and also a scenario to work through. So I'm going to open this up. So I'm going to click on this. And let's look at this unique chapter here. Usually you don't find this in an anatomy and physiology book, mechanisms of health and disease, as well as with the terminology chapter. You've got medical terminology, but we also have social and cultural terminology that primarily have to do with quality of life. So let me open up the nervous system. You click it, it's going to open up into a download. So I'm going to open this file. And I'm going to make sure I've got it on the share screen here. So I'm going to open this up so you can see it. There we go. So at the end of every chapter, there are 20 questions that are designed to help the student review the information in the textbook, review vocabulary, and also become acclimated with multiple choice questions for the MBLEX exam. So here's the answers and the rationale. I will often use these as discussion points to talk about the chapter. And then this little scenario that's in the end of each chapter. Here's the author's response. So the scenario happens to be about Ms. Finch, and she's got problems with her nervous system and a concussion, and she's being treated appropriately by physicians, and then it asks them to determine which conditions are involved with neurotransmitter function, or what might be going on with traumatic brain injury and the physical therapy that the client is going through, and how might massage interface with that. And then it's asking them to create an adaptive massage session here. So these are really unique, and it brings the chapter together and looks at it again through the massage lens. Okay, whoops. I'll share that screen again. And get back to the instructor resources. There's also a conversion guide. What the conversion guide does is says, okay, this is the new edition, is the 7th edition. In the 6th edition, this particular content was on page 44. In the new edition, it's on page 49. So it helps you update reading assignments and that sort of thing. Makes it really quite easy to do that. There is also a program guide. I'll open that up. And each of these content areas are really helpful as you're planning your program, whether it's a new program or you're redesigning your curriculum. There is also comprehensive rubrics to check for competencies available as well. And then there are teach lesson plans, and I mentioned this earlier. So let's look at the same chapter. Let's look at nervous system basics, central nervous system. It downloads, and you open the file. Now what I have to do is go collect that. So while it's opening, here we go. And where is it? So this is what Teach opens up to in terms of lesson plan. This is for the instructor. It talks in general about the chapter. This is divided into 2 lessons. It gives you the content for each one, and this is fully editable. You can change this any way you want, but at least you've got a scaffold to look at with it. You're not creating everything from scratch here. Then it tells you for this first lesson, it tells you what you need to look at to prepare to teach this. It gives you what is in how the content is reflected in the entry-level analysis project, the massage and bodywork licensing exam, as well as the massage therapy body of knowledge. It gives you student preparation. This is what you would tell the student to do prior to class. So this will become part of their syllabus homework assignment. And that's all set. And then here is the actual 50-minute lesson plan. Now, you may find in the way that your program is constructed that you will need more time or less time. But again, it's still, you've got a structure to work from as you make your individual adjustments. It also has PowerPoint slides that you can use. They're pretty basic. I'll show you a picture of those real quick later on. But it provides the structure for an interactive lecture. Then it also gives you some student activities that can be used, or you can come up with your own. And some critical thinking questions. Then we're going to go into lesson 2, and you have the same features. Here's your 50-minute lesson plan there. Again, you can alter this. And then the last part of this are suggestions for assessment. You can use the multiple choice questions at the end of the chapter. In the Student Evolve, there's an activity called Quick Content Review, which takes the objectives and has the student write a narrative with them. And then there is actually an answer key for that for them. There's a small quiz, and then there's also some mock exams, MBLEX mock exams available. Additionally, there's a very comprehensive test bank that you can use to create tests, or I have the students do all of the questions. So that is what is available for your lesson plan development. Let's share screen again. See what we got here. So here is where you'd find your PowerPoints. They're really basic, but you also have an image collection. And with the image collection, you can click on that and you can download all of the pictures that you want to highlight, and you can use those on your PowerPoint, or you can use them in other matching activities or whatever. This is test bank. Continuing with chapter 4 here. These test bank, there's usually around 100, sometimes a little less and sometimes more. You can view it with the answer key, tell you which one's correct, or you could view it without the answer key. And so this becomes really helpful. All right. Let's take a brief look at the student resources. And I gotta go find it again. I hope what you're learning by watching me navigate all of this is that you can be fairly relaxed when you do these types of recordings. So there we go. And we're gonna share the screen. I'm going to show you my landing page for my Evolve site. If I hit my Evolve right here, it will show you how I use the available learning management system with Evolve. I have things set up in courses. I'll just open one of these up, and you can see the different resources that I have available. There's a grade book. There's information related to, I can put announcements in. I'll show you the grade book real quick. And as the students do their activities, their end of chapter tests, it will post right to the grade book. It's takes a little bit of learning to figure it out, but if I can figure it out, I am confident you can figure it out. So the way I've got this set up is looking at chapter 1 real quick. that test bank that I just showed you. I have that posted right here. The students click on that. That is linked to my grade book. They've got electronic workbook here. This is with fundamentals. They've got an answer key. There are videos. So there's good self-study or hybrid-based information available for them. I also want to show you the catalog, real brief. So you can search for products right here. So I'm going to put in Fritz Massage. Whoops. It'd be nice if I spelled my name right. And search. And all of the products will come up. And so this is here is our book right here. I'm going to click on that. And this happens to be the ebook version. And you can, in the catalog here, right here is where you will access a review copy. And when you do that, it'll go through, and it's got the code right there. Then you proceed to checkout. And it's going to ask you to either update your account or create an account. And then it will give you your educational consultant code. If you don't have an account already, it will take you to where you would get an educational consultant and set that up. You submit that. I have to confirm I'm an instructor. I forgot to do that. Yes, I am an instructor. There we go. And it will go to your educational consultant. Once they approve that, then this will post into my Evolve account. So that's where you find your catalog, is where you find how to do, how to get review copies of this. So that's a simple overview. And if you do have more questions, I'm active on Facebook. You can reach out to me that way, and I'll be happy to help you navigate the textbook. I really feel that the Essential Science textbook provides a much richer learning experience for the student than a more standardized textbook that would be used in a college anatomy and physiology class. So hope this was helpful. Thank you.